CBS.com, NBA mock draft. And I'm torn on this one, Chris, because it breaks the rules, but this was the one I was okay with breaking the rules for. Let's go to you, Chris Watkins.
All right. Yeah, this one is from CBS.com from over the weekend. From what I understand, they do have a second mock draft up, but for more of the purpose of conversation, we're going to go over the one that they dropped over the weekend. And let's start off with number 1, which goes Alex Sarr. No surprise there, but the surprise starts at number 2 in this mock draft, where we have a name that we have definitely not seen at number 2, as Zachary Rissache has been at number 1 or number 2 in just about every mock draft we've seen. This one from CBS.com has Reed Sheppard going number 2, the Kentucky freshman guard, going number 2 to the Washington Wizards. I'm trying to think fit-wise if that maybe makes more sense. I know they're really high on Bilal Coulibaly, who they drafted.
He's been putting out a lot of videos.
They have, yeah.
Apparently he grew too.
That wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah, he's got that Giannis, Jason Tatum growth spurt. I'm trying to think of their guard situation. They obviously have Jordan Poole. Tyus Jones is out the door probably. Maybe a guard like Reed Sheppard makes some sense. They have Zachary Rissache going 3rd to Houston. Number 4, pairing Donovan Clingan with Victor Wembanyama. That's an interesting front line there. I don't know if that works. Maybe if the thought is to maybe move Wemby to the 4, which is terrifying. Yeah. Please no. Mateus Buzelis going number 5 to Detroit. Number 6, Stephon Castle going to Charlotte. Number 7, Dalton Connect going to the Portland Blazers. Number 8, Nikola Topic to the Spurs. Number 9, Devin Carter seems to have found himself in the top 10 pretty solidly. At number 10, Utah is taking Ron Holland. Number 11, the Bulls taking Isaiah Collier. Number 12, Cody Williams going to OKC, bringing us to number 13. Unfortunately, Tejan Salon goes 14 to the Blazers, so he's
still another
available.
one.
He's available, but he's not going to the Kings. They have the Sacramento Kings with the 13th pick in the 24 draft. CBS.com has the Sacramento Kings taking freshman guard from Kentucky, Rob Dillingham. Not a name that we have seen as far as 13. This is a guy who has been upwards of number 2. I feel like we've seen in some draft lotteries or in some mock drafts as number 3. Definitely not a lot of people having him go past 8 to the second Spurs pick. But if he does fall to 13, like you said in the tease, if Malik Monk leaves, you're not finding a more one-for-one prospect than Rob Dillingham. You might be able to find, your Jordan Clarkson or whatever, but if you're looking for a long-term, hey, we really liked what Malik brought us, could we sign up for that for 8 to 9 more years of team control? Can't do much better than Rob Dillingham. The write-up on Rob Dillingham was one of 2 projected lottery picks coming off of Kentucky's bench this season for reasons that remain confusing. There are concerns about his size and defensive shortcomings, but the 6'1" guard could be a legitimate scoring option early in his career for a Sacramento franchise that has won 94 games in the past 2 regular seasons. Not used to seeing the wins listed as a positive for Sacramento, so that was kind of new for me to read. Rob Dillingham last season, 15.2 points per game, 3.9 assists, 2.9 rebounds, 44% from 3. You love to see it. For the combo guard out of Kentucky. Some of the pro comps, you have Kobe White, who you probably view that a little bit differently after this season. Kemba Walker and Lou Williams. So I think clearly shift, right? He is shifty, is what those pro comps are telling you. He's a guard who likes to have the ball in his hands. He's a scorer, he's a shooter, and that's what he's here to do. Some of his strengths, real quick. Listed from Bleacher Report: ball handling creation, shot making versatility, improving his playmaking. His weaknesses are finishing around the rim, which is definitely a problem, and that's where maybe the Malik comps start, because Malik is a pretty crazy finisher around the rim. Shot selection, which you could definitely see being a problem, and defensive tools where, he's 6'1", he's really, really light. I don't even know what his listed weight, 165 pounds, which is Trae Young territory. That's definitely a major concern that I don't think ever gets solved it's going to be a matter of if Rob Dillingham's offense is going to be good enough to make him a pro. And if it is, I definitely think he's going to be exactly those pro comps. He's going to be Malik. He's going to be Lou Will. He's going to be Kemba Walker. I can definitely see him being just a lights out scorer, and that's going to be where his bread is buttered. I don't know how I feel about it.
I think his highlights are great.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Kings can afford to swing and miss on him.
Yeah.
I would much rather do a deal for Jordan Clarkson, who his money is right.
That's true.
Right there where what you were going to give with Malik Monk still available and Malik Monk as a now free agent or about to be a free agent. I would just make that trade. Somebody on the text line, Will Lamas, is saying a little bit redundant with Davion, even though they're not the same player. Can you really afford to bring on another undersized guard to this team? It's like the combination of Davion and Rob Dillingham is a player that you'd really want, but can you afford to have two players doing that? Especially now when you have, I might have this conversation if Keon didn't emerge this season, but you got to get Keon minutes.
Yep.
You still have Davion for now. Maybe the assumption is you're not going to have Davion by the time the season starts. But as the roster is currently set, I love Rob Dillingham as a prospect. I would love to use him if I was playing a video game. But as far as on the Kings, I just don't think you can afford to miss and miss on another guard. I mean, you took Davion at 9. And now you took how many? I mean, you took De'Aaron Fox, you took Tyrese Halliburton. Now you took Davion Mitchell, and now you're going to take Rob Dillingham. And I get it if you lose Malik Monk, but in a couple months here, and you look at ceilings, or a couple years rather, and you say, "Oh man, the Kings missed." Would you rather them? There's no sure things here. So I got to go with the higher ceiling than a guy that at best is going to be another Malik Monk. And we know it took Malik Monk a couple years to get going. You just don't have time for that.
No, and I mean, if he pops, I think we presented this question in one of the mock drafts last week, but let's say Rob Dillingham pops, and let's see he's the caliber of Darius Garland. What do you do then? Like, you can, I think if you draft Rob Dillingham at 13, especially, it's like that's a perfect bench player for us. But what if Rob Dillingham becomes? It's a great problem to have, of course, is you knock the pick out the park. But positionally, you're going to play him and De'Aaron Fox, or are you going to have to make that decision? Do you ship off? Like, it just, I know get the talent in the building, figure the rest out later. But again, positionally, it just feels like sometimes you need to. Just because you shouldn't draft for position doesn't mean you shouldn't factor it in a little bit into your calculus. And I just think take Tajon Salon there. I don't care. Take Tristan Da Silva. Take somebody who at the very least positionally I think makes more sense. I'm always going to be on that
And
side.
we just had a conversation. Just had a conversation about Sasha. So you're going to give Mike Brown another offensively focused guy that doesn't play defense. Mike Brown's just going to say, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do here? We can't build what we want to build. Coming up next, Chris's favorite player was in Folsom, hitting the night. Also, that bad man in Minnesota.